7 months ago, I published a video letting everyone know that I'm transgender. I made the video to show a transgender man that I was caring for in the hospital that people would accept him for who he is. He had all but given up and had tried to take his own life. I had been trying to assure him that things would be okay, but I couldn't help but feel hypocritical because I wasn't out but to a very few people myself. I went home and I made the video. I thought it was my best shot to give him some hope for the future. I began to panic as the video got more and more attention, rising to over 11,000 views. There was no way to undo what I had done at this point. I began to make visible changes in my life and finally embrace who I was. There was to be no more running and no more hiding.
Bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away. Ricochet, take your aim. Fire away, fire away. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium.
I began to reach out to others in the transgender community. I started a Facebook page that would be a vehicle for me to impact and support others. My so-called friends began to start falling out of my life. There was no aspect of my life that wasn't affected. I found family, military, and childhood friends quickly turned their backs on me. People began to contact me, telling me I was a perverted freak, or that I was confused, and that I wasn't considered their friend anymore. And I had a really hard time trying to understand how people who'd meant so much to me could just leave me when I needed them the most. I was deeply hurt, and I began to slip into a depression. I felt abandoned and upset, and when I was at my worst, I received a letter from the transgender patient that I had just cared for. This strengthened my resolve to never quit and to do what I could for others. I realized I could never control the way that other people viewed me, and worrying about what they thought was hurting me. So I found strength in those that stood with me, and new friends who had no problem accepting me as I was. The weight of hiding and lying to everyone had been lifted from me, and I felt happy and free for the very first time. It wasn't soon after that I entered a very trying time in my life. I had to quit a job I loved due to my school schedule. I struggled to continue to afford my hormones and counseling sessions without the insurance, and then not long after that, my grandfather passed away. He was someone I had always looked up to, and I desperately wanted his approval. He died not ever knowing who I really was.
Stone hard, machine gun, firing out the ones who run. Stone hard, bulletproof glass.
In the wake of these changes, I failed my summer semester at school. I was a mess. I re-enrolled in school with a resolve to turn things around, and I sent my resume out to several psychiatric hospitals as well. Then Glenn and I got engaged, and things were starting to be so good again. We put a down payment on a new home and started making an actual life together. I felt loved and accepted for who I truly was for the very first time in my life, despite the nasty comments and remarks I was receiving from people who barely knew me. You know, I never asked for this. So this wasn't like an easy decision for me. I mean, this was a decision that took a lot of time, and I had to do a lot of self-reflecting, and then I had to look to the future and realize what I was going to lose or what I had the potential to lose in trying to make myself whole. It would be so much easier if I could just be normal. I used to hate myself. I blamed everyone else for the way I felt, and I was ashamed. It was only when I stopped being ashamed of who I was and I started this journey that I felt like I was living, that I was alive. I began to realize that I was deserving of love and respect. I knew that things were going to be difficult, but I stopped letting others dictate how I lived. I fought through anxiety and fear to define myself, regardless of the mean glances, stares, and comments. I know I still have a long way to go, and there are so many more challenges that I will face on my journey, but I couldn't imagine going back to where I was before I made this commitment to myself.